Since the current strain of avian bird flu was detected in the United States in 2022, farmers have had to kill 150 million chickens and ducks. And a new CDC study finds more cattle and people than initially known had the virus and may have passed it on. Meanwhile, a new, more dangerous strain of bird flu was confirmed in Mississippi, the first such strain in the U.S. since 2017. Scientists are doing everything they can to get better data on bird flu, and they say you can help. That's today's story of the day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Morja Wealth Management, serving the North Country for 3 generations. MorjaWM.com. Securities offered through Hightower Securities, LLC, member FINRA, SIPC. Hightower is an SEC-registered investment advisor. And Kinney Drugs, now offering specialized home medical equipment and supplies. Learn more at kinneyhomecare.com.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Tuesday, March 18th. First up, Republicans in New York are optimistic about their chances of winning statewide office next year for the first time in a long time. Jimmy Vielkind reports for the New York Public News Network.
For Republicans, the road to the governor's mansion in 2026 starts at a cocktail party in downtown Binghamton. Several hundred people are here for the annual Lincoln Day dinner, a fundraising banquet. Benji Fetterman, who chairs the local GOP committee, says the crowd is excited about President Trump's win and wants to take out Governor Hochul next year.
But we'll welcome any Republican that's motivated to beat Kathy Hochul. That is mission critical for the Republican Party in 2026. We're preparing and ready to strike.
It won't be easy. Republicans have been out of power in state government since 2019, but 2 potential candidates are hitting the stump. One is Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman, who drove up from Long Island to explain how he won in a Democrat-dominated county.
We listened to the people. We got down to basics. We worried about our communities and not about people who've been here for 15 minutes, who came across our border illegally.
Blakeman's speech focused on immigration, keeping transgender girls from playing on girls' sports teams, and his ties to Trump. He's running for re-election to his current job, but he won't rule out a statewide run. Another politician openly pondering a run for governor is Congressmember Mike Lawler from the Hudson Valley. He fended off a Democratic challenger in November, and he's since gone around the state attacking Hochul, including at a recent conference in Albany.
Kathy Hochul is a feckless and failed governor who must be defeated in 2026.
A poll taken this month shows Lawler leading Blakeman among Republicans in a hypothetical gubernatorial primary. The same Siena College survey found 56% of voters would prefer to back someone other than Hochul in 2026. Still, pollster Stephen Greenberg says there are 3 million more Democratic voters in New York than Republicans.
Take a step back. New York is a state that has been solidly blue for a long time. The last time a Republican won statewide in New York was when George Pataki won his 3rd term as governor in 2002.
Pataki said the ingredients for a statewide win are there if you have a GOP candidate who can attract some Democrats.
If you want people to not vote their party, you have to have someone who is able to articulate why they should do that.
Both Blakeman and Lawler talk about bipartisanship, but they also emphasize their ties to Trump. Back in Binghamton, several dozen protesters gather outside Blakeman's speech. Barbara Mullen, a co-leader of the local Indivisible group, says Trump and Elon Musk's work to dismantle federal agencies is a power grab.
Because of checks and balances, we expect our Republican neighbors to do their job, to stand up and stop the coup.
Fred Akshar is also on hand. He's the local sheriff and a former state lawmaker. He says a lot of what Republicans hope to do in New York depends on Washington.
I mean, there are still a lot of anti-Trump, anti-Elon Musk people amongst us. If we don't produce on behalf of the American people, then we will suffer for that.
The latest poll shows Trump's job approval in New York has ticked down to 42%. In Binghamton, I'm Jimmy Vielkind for the New York Public News Network.
A radio station that served the North Country for 75 years is shutting down. WIRY provided music, news, weather, and sports updates across the Champlain Valley. The station cited the increased emphasis on digital and social media, rising costs of music royalties, and the decline of radio listenership as reasons for the closure. A day before the announcement, WIRY had announced it was only going to broadcast music going forward. The station didn't say when the airwaves would go silent. Researchers at Cornell University have put together an online resource for tracking developments with bird flu. Catherine Wheeler reports that while the illness hasn't spread to the state's dairy cow population, public health officials want people to remain vigilant.
You may have heard a lot about a certain flu making its way across the country. No, it's not the stomach bug going around. It's bird flu.
And that's because it poses some risks.
Alexander Travis is the director of Cornell Public Health. He says the flu's name is highly pathogenic avian flu, or HPAI. It's been spreading in the U.S. since November 2021. It's affected more than 166 million birds, including commercial and backyard flocks, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Most of them had to be killed. It's been detected in wild birds or poultry in more than 30 counties in New York State, including St. Lawrence, Jefferson, Clinton, and Essex counties. Travis says the virus, which can be transmitted by wild birds, can devastate poultry farms because of how quickly it can spread.
When there's an outbreak, there can be millions of birds that actually can get put down because of that.
But avian flu doesn't just affect birds. It can also infect small mammals and cows.
The virus in dairy cattle, luckily, has not been found in New York State. But in those states where it's gotten into the dairy cattle, it's expressed in very high amounts in milk.
That could more easily spread the virus to people. Travis says there's no evidence that properly cooked poultry, eggs, or dairy products could make you sick with bird flu, but he says it's extremely risky for people or animals to consume unpasteurized dairy products.
Please do not drink raw milk. Do not eat raw milk products. Pasteurization is known to kill the virus, and so that's very important to protect our health, and the same for our pets. I strongly recommend against feeding raw food diets to pets because of the risk of infection.
There is no known case of avian flu spreading from human to human in the U.S. right now, but the CDC reports there are about 70 confirmed cases of people contracting the virus from animals. One person has died. Travis says the big concern is more people getting bird flu. If a person is already infected with one type of flu and then contracts bird flu from an animal, it could create a virus we don't know how to fight.
That is a risk because then suddenly the virus can gain new capabilities.
Travis says it's been hard for people to find credible information about bird flu all in one place because of the range of animals impacted and misinformation. So Cornell researchers created the online Avian Flu Resource Center. Travis says it's updated regularly with answers about wildlife, farm animals, pets, and human health. Travis says the safest way to approach avian flu right now is to assume it's everywhere in New York State.
Even though there are some counties that don't have a positive at this point, do not take that you're in some way safe from it. It is everywhere.
Travis says in addition to staying away from unpasteurized dairy products, it's important for people to report dead birds or clusters of dead animals they find outside.
If you, say, go for a hike and you see a large number of dead birds or mixed species in particular, there's a reporting tool that you can get to through our wildlife site to report that to the DEC so they can go and collect what samples are necessary and have those tested and then also clear those animals.
Travis says if you want to remove a dead bird from your property, keep pets and children away. Wear disposable gloves, eye coverings, and a mask. He says to use a shovel to dispose of the bird and double or triple bag the carcass and leave it in an outside bin to be thrown out. He says if you have questions or want to keep up with the latest, visit the Avian Flu Resource Center. Catherine Wheeler, North Country Public Radio.
We have more news all the time on our website, ncpr.org. Music today by Mark Corey of Watertown and Evan Veenstra of Gananoque, Ontario. I'm David Summerstein, North Country Public Radio.